All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Seaside Chat number 7. Today, I'd like to welcome our speaker, Walter Peacock, who is a planning specialist with the Community Resilience Collaborative. He's going to show us how citizens can find information they need to get active in their community's planning process. All right, Walter, take it away.
Thank you, Chloe. Yet again, I'm Walter Peacock. I'm a planning specialist with Texas Sea Grant, and my background is in urban planning and disaster recovery. And today I'm going to be showing you guys some tools. Give me 1 second. Can you please allow me to share my screen? Thank you. So today I'm going to be showing y'all some tools that citizens can use to help them with their planning efforts in their communities. A lot of things that communities deal with when it comes to planning is that they don't actually have the resources to be able to do the level of planning they want to help out their community. Not everybody has expensive equipment and programs that allow them to project images of their community and around the table and let everybody talk about it and do different types of strategies. But there are a lot of resources online that you can use that are free, that can help communities do this type of planning. The first I'm going to talk about is the Texas Coastal Community Planning Atlas, and it is an internet-based spatial decision-making support system created by the Texas Sustainable Coastal Initiative. And it allows users to visualize, identify critical issues and how they can interact with and change social and development dimensions. It covers all 18 counties along the Texas coast. The layer list, as you can see on the side, offers a lot of different data that the community can use when to help them make an informed decision. Users are able to query data, create custom maps using multiple development scenarios, and it allows them to make decisions that can help them balance economic development with environmental protection and human health, safety, and welfare. If you want to learn more about it, you can always check it out. Just Google the Texas Coastal Community Atlas, and you will be able to figure out more on it. Here's another map that I created using this software, which takes a look at social vulnerability, which are the community or the groups of people that might have a hard time evacuating during a storm. And then I've overlaid storm surge cat level 2 on top of it. So now we can say, oh, here are some areas where the people might not be able to get out on time. This is where we should focus our resources to help them evacuate. The next thing I want to talk about is the Digital Coast. The Digital Coast is a website created by the Office of Coastal Management and provides coastal data, tools, training, and information needed for decision makers. The Digital Coast was developed to meet the unique needs of coastal management community. And the website not only provides data and tools, but it also provides training. Let's go ahead and take a look at the website. You can see right here on the corner, this is the where you can go to get it. And so not only do we have these tools here, I'll click on the tools link. We can figure out what tools we might want to look at. So let's say that we were doing a planning session or we had a community meeting to discuss community resilience. We can click on this. It will filter through all the tools, allow us to see tools that would be most helpful for us in this type of discussion. And then we can pick the types of tools we want to see. Do we actually want to see an analysis or do we just want to see visualization? Let's click on visualization. Yet again, it then filters the tools for us. And then we can then pick on a platform, like if we were going to use it on our desktop computers or if we wanted to use mobile apps. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's any data for mobile apps, but it allows you to look through to see if there are ones that you can use in a community setting. So I want to go back and let's say that you have these tools, but you're not quite sure how to use them, or you're trying to set up a planning meeting, but you're not sure how to do the planning meeting. The great thing about the Digital Coast is they also have training. You can click on the training tab. And then you can see that there's different types of things available to you. They actually have upcoming live events that you can click on and sign up for. It's free. You can also do classroom instruction, self-guided resources, publications, and different types of videos and webinars that are all accessible through the site. Let's just go ahead and click on self-guided resources and see what's available to us. So we can see that here, if we wanted to learn more about coastal and waterfront smart growth guide, we can click there and have more resources to us that allow us to guide us through this type of planning process. The next thing I want to show you guys is Buyers Beware. Buyers Beware is a great little tool that is not only for planning, but it also could be for you if you were searching for a house to buy. Let's say that you're interested in a piece of property, whether it be for development or for purchasing for your own home. This allows you, this site allows you to type in that address and then find pertinent information about this address. Not only is it important to train planners and elected officials to be more informed, but it also creates a more informed populace by letting them better understand what are the problems or what are the critical issues related to property risk. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little guided tour for you for this site. Give me 1 second. Sorry. And it's right here. Now, unfortunately, Buyers Beware is not for the whole coast. It's has some limitations to it. Right now, in Texas, it's only for Harris County and Galveston County. But if you happen to be listening from somewhere else in the nation, there are some other places that you can click on. But for today, let's go ahead and just do Harris County. And let's, here's just Harris County and it's a zoomed in portion. Each little plot is selectable. So I'm just going to select a random house right here. And right here, it will show us what is the risk related to this house. What is the property risk? Not only does it show us a picture of the home, but it also shows us its rating score, how at risk is it is to being damaged by a hurricane. Is it in a flood zone? Is there any type of hazardous waste that might have been there before? And what about the neighborhood? Does the neighborhood tend to flood? You might not think that, oh, well, the house is not going to flood because we're not in a floodplain, but what happens if you can't leave your house? That is a situation that I have had to deal with in the past where while my house was fine, I needed to leave for an emergency and wasn't able to actually leave my community because the flooding was so high on my street. Let's take a look. While this risk for this home is only 2, let's look at a place farther or closer to the coast and see what its risk level is. I'm going to pick a random home over here right next to LaPorte, and then let's check out to see what the risk of that house is. Well, I think I see the house that I want to live at. It's this rather large home with a swimming pool in the backyard right next to the bay. I'm going to click on it, and it looks really nice. We can see that it does have a threat rating of 3. And the threat rating is based upon a certain amount of categories that you can select on. We see that it's it has some risk when it comes to hurricanes, a maximum threat level of 5. It's also in a flood zone, as we can tell, it's maximum 5. Hazardous waste is a 2. That's probably because it's in the shipping channel, but the neighborhood flooding seems relatively moderate. Now, let's say I wanted to actually find out more information about this property outside of just these 4 topics. I can click on this area right here, and it will actually give us more fields that we can fill in, which is, let's go ahead and click them. Ozone, particulate matter, contaminant lands, air pollution, wildfire, and sea level rise. This all still gives me a relatively low rating, but we can see that not only is this property at risk for hurricanes, it also is at risk for sea level rise. And air pollution there of a 4 is rather high, but it is Houston. Houston in general and Harris County area doesn't have the best air quality that we normally see around different places of the Texas coast. It also has some information based on a tie-in with Zillow. So we can actually see the estimated cost of this house. And let's say we wanted to figure out like how this rating was actually created. We can click on this right here, and it tells us how these rating scores are created. So we have the specific hazard risks. You can see hurricanes, it's an indicator 1 through 5, it tells you where they get this data and how this is calculated. So please check out Buyers Beware, especially if you're buying in Galveston or Harris County. It might be that it might help you make a decision to live in a place that might be a little bit less risk. The next tool that I want to talk to you about is Golftree. Now, with Golftree, what it is an actual engine that helps you simplify finding the tools you need for doing a planning process. There are so many tools out there, and you might not know where to look or what tool might work best for you. And it has a process of helping you select what tools you might help you out the most or help out your community the most. So let's go ahead and take a look at their website. I find that is a little bit easier. So let's go ahead and take a look. So instead of doing a filter search, I don't know what I am looking for. So let's do a guided search here. So let's pretend me and my city council are wanting to do a planning process, and we want to do some engagement and communicating with our community members to talk about our planning process. So we can select there, submit, and it comes up with a topic area. So what topics are we really interested in with our community? So let's say that we're really interested in general economics, and we're also interested in social vulnerability. And so we'll select that. Unfortunately, this isn't available for all of the United States, but luckily we do live in Texas, and that is the area that we're interested in. Let's go ahead and just select all of Texas, submit. And then you could say, like, what type of level of effort are you going to be doing for this? Is this your main job? So that means that you're going to be spending all your time actually working on it, or a moderate amount. So you're part of the city council, or you're helping out the city council in the planning process. So I would say that would be about moderate, or we could say low. I really only have time for a little bit of helping out during the community meetings, or that I only have a little bit of time on the weekends that I can do it. Let's go ahead and just pick moderate and submit. And I don't have that much money to help with this, or unless the city can actually provide money, let's go ahead and just select free. But if the city was behind this planning process and they had some money, then you can actually select different types of price levels. Let's go ahead and submit. Tool says out of 107 tools, we have 2 tools that will help us out. We're going to select that, and we have visualization mapping that will help us out with our decision-making process, and the CRI, Coastal Community Resilience Index, would also help us out in our planning process for our community. So for the next part, guess what? One of the tools that we happen to get selected is also the next tool that I'm going to show you. The next tool I'm going to show you is the Coastal Resiliency Indices. It's a tool that helps communities plan better by actually reviewing their the plans that they already have. And this could be mitigation measures. What do they have in the books? What ordinances, what building codes they have in the books that helps reduce the risk for the community. It does this by identifying weaknesses that make community vulnerable to negative effects of coastal hazards, and provides the community with a starting place to address those weaknesses by taking into consideration some of the financial and resource limitations that smaller communities might have. Here's a sample page of the hazard mitigation page. The plan also looks at critical infrastructure, transportation, community plans, business plans, and social systems. When you determine your resiliency index for each section with a low, medium, or high designation, the guide offers interpretations to your resiliency index designation and informs you about next steps in the process. So it is made for communities, but anybody can actually do this and use these indices to rate their community, and then bring that up with either the city council or their other citizens that live in their community to talk about ways that the community as a whole can plan to help reduce their risk for the future. Lastly, the thing that I'm going to show you is the planning handbook. The handbook a handbook to help communities prepare for and respond to disasters more effectively by illustrating the interactions between an event, the human-built environment, and human society. The first part discusses communities' resilience, defining it and connecting it to disaster phases. Part two is about knowing your community through assessment of vulnerabilities. Part three drives into planning strategies for addressing hazard mitigation plans to discuss the different tools available. And then one of the best parts is the planning toolbox, and it's in chapter 8 of the publication, where it actually identifies different tools and different ways of helping communities plan for coastal resilience. The author recognizes that very little is known about how widely hazard mitigation aimed policies and strategies have been adopted. To better understand it, they actually use a study over 267 jurisdictions to see what hazards that were affecting the communities and what policies had been put in place and what were the results of that. So if you guys would like to know more, or if you have any questions about any of the tools, feel free to contact me. Here's my information up here on the screen. And if I can't help you, I'm sure there's people that I can get you in contact with to help you out. We have planning specialists not only here in Houston, where I am located, but we have one in Corpus Christi and in the Rio Grande Valley. And our goal is to help communities plan for a better future and reduce the risk to our communities. You know, the only way our communities can continue to strive is that we make sure that we try to stay at or tiptoe around our risks, but also make sure that we prepare our communities to reduce our social vulnerability and to make sure that our businesses continue to make money and help us all grow. Thank you. And if you guys have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you so much, Walter. That was great. I do have some polls for our attendees. The first one usually goes out at the beginning, but I forgot to put it out there. So if you guys wouldn't mind filling that out, I'm going to launch that now. It asks how familiar you are with today's topic prior to this speech. So after this one, I'm going to send out the second one. All right, let's see. Is that all of them? Almost there. All right. Cool. Now I'm going to send out our second poll for if you learned anything new. Here we go. Sweet. And does anyone have any questions for Walter?
Yeah, it looks like we do have a question. And the question is, the house on the Houston Ship Channel had a high rating, warning of sea level rise. Why so high when sea level rise might not affect us for many, many years? That is true. And while we don't know how much sea level rise might affect the building, the fact is over 30 years, over a year of a mortgage, it could become more and more of a problem for that house or for that area. Not only is just sea level rise possibly going to affect it. But even if it's just affected by a small amount, it could be an added effect of high tides or just different boats and ships driving by there might cause the water to actually reach to parts of the house that might not have otherwise affected it. Any other questions for me?
I think we have one more in the chat.
Okay. Is sea level rise strictly categorized as climate change, water rise, or does it include storm surge? From my understanding, sea level rise is strictly as climate change, not from storm surge. That's a different category. In some of the modeling softwares that are out there, you can actually model for both. Community Charmed is one of those type of models that are out there where you can say storm surge, which is, cat 1 to cat 5, and then model future sea level rise on top of it. So it's basically just adding how much sea level or how much rise would have occurred in the next 50 years or something like that. And then let's say a storm of a category 3 comes in. Well, we would expect the storm surge to go further inland and at a higher amount of flooding than would have been seen if there wasn't any sea level rise.
Awesome. Does anyone else have any more questions? Nope. Well, I guess this concludes our Seaside chat. Thank you so much, Walter, for coming, and thank you for all of our attendees for showing up. I hope everyone has a great day and stay tuned for the next one. Bye.
Thank you, everybody. You have a good weekend. Bye-bye.